What's up? What's up? This is the ChoppedByT podcast where we get real, raw, authentic conversations. I'm your host, T. To the right of me, we got Jasmine. So what's up?
What's up, everybody? I'm glad to be back.
I'm glad to have you back. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, refreshed.
Yeah. That's always a good thing. Look, I got something that I want to read to you. I just want you to hear something that I wrote. It says, it's about love. And it says, love is a profound and multifaceted emotion that transcends mere words, nourishing the soul and bridging the gap between individuals. It manifests in countless forms, whether through unwavering support of family, the deep connections of friendships, or the passionate intimacy of romantic relationships. Love is both an anchor and a liberator. It grounds us while inspiring acts of kindness and selflessness. It encourages us to see the world through another's eyes, fostering empathy and cultivating a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. Ultimately, love enriches our lives, offering solace in times of hardship and amplifying our joy in moments of happiness. My question to you is, which is more important, the love of self or the love of others?
That is, it could be either or, but I would say for right now in my life, it's probably love of self.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I love myself enough, then I won't be giving that love out to people who may not deserve it or be worthy of what I have to give. Because it's easy to get caught up in loving others that may not be good for you. And it diminishes the love that you have for yourself.
Yeah. That's where I am too. Reason why I wrote that, I'm in my writer bag.
Oh, that was beautiful. I didn't know you wrote that.
Yeah, I write. I write.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I got an audio book out right now called Infidelity. It's an audio book, scripted content. Make sure y'all go get that. It's called Infidelity. You can get it on my website. But I just been in my bed just thinking about love, and that's how sometimes I can get a better understanding of things. Just write it out, and just I've been going through a space of like, all right, being a man of my family or being a man of like to people, to my family versus, understanding myself and loving myself. And it's been a battle because what I'm finding is as a man that sometimes you have to put others and the love of others first before you put the love of yourself first. So I'm battling with like, should I put myself first or the love of others first? And that's been like a battle with me lately. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, no, I feel like when it comes to, it's different because when I answered that was more of a romantic type of love. But even with my family, I'm at a place right now where I've always put them first, even to the detriment of myself, or I'd run myself ragged, helping them when I can barely help myself.
Yeah.
So where I had to kind of put my foot down and put me first. Not my daughter, of course. I feel like my daughter will always come first in my life. But outside of that, like my brothers and sisters, my mom, things like that, I had to kind of take a step back because I can't fill up other people's cups if mine isn't full.
Absolutely. And I mean, romantically as well, that's where I'm at too. Because that kind of is lumped in with that because, my family, I have, the mother of my child. So there's that, So it's like, whether we're on good terms or bad terms, I always want to put her first, as opposed to, myself, just simply because if she's better, my son is better. So
Exactly.
I battle with that too, No, I mean, love can be, it's a difficult thing to wrap your head around, the whole idea, the concept of love, because I'm seeing now in today's time that a lot of the time you have to, it's like to love someone, to be with someone. I don't even know if it's love. I guess like being with someone, you have to almost sacrifice some sort of sanity or some sort of like, I don't know if it's sanity. Sometimes it's sanity. Sometimes it's time. Sometimes it's, I don't know, money. It's like you have to sacrifice something in order to maintain that level of love that you desire. And I ask myself, is it worth it?
Right. I don't know how, it's crazy that you're bringing this up because I'm at a point in my life where I don't really know, I can't even grasp what love is romantically right now, because I look back at my previous relationships, even my most recent relationship, which I thought was like amazing. And then after it ended, it just, I realized like, wow, like it felt like, was I even in a relationship? Like, even though I was doing good and had my best foot forward in it, it's like, okay, well, you were given that love, and I don't know if it was reciprocated or not. I hope it was during the time. But again, my last relationship blindsided me so much that now I'm at a point where I'm like, what is love? Like, am I ready for love again? Should I just be single for the rest of my life? I already have a child, I fulfilled my duty as a woman. I don't know. Yeah. Like I'm at such a weird place with love. And like old me, I was like, love was like one of my top priorities, and I thought I had it all figured out. But, I just put that's something right now that's just in God's hands in my life, because I don't know.
Do you feel like your last relationship like broke you?
It would have if this was like 10 years ago or something. But after it was all said and done, I remember just thanking God. I was extremely hurt. But I just started saying, like, God, thank you. Literally, I like broke down. I was like, you know what? Through my tears, I was thanking God, because I was like, you wouldn't just shake up my life like this for no reason. I was like, I just learned a really big lesson in this relationship. And I have so much that I feel like at the time I felt like was coming for me, so much good, that I was like, I can't get wrapped up in thinking about this, or I can't get stuck here. Like, this is happening for a reason. I put my best foot forward. I know everything that I gave in that relationship will come back to me eventually. But right now, I don't know what's going on. All I can do is trust you and thank you in the midst of the storm.
Yeah. That's the complicated part, right? Because you're so sure of yourself and the things that's going on with you. But the reality of any relationship is there's another person there. And sometimes these people welcome other people in, and sometimes these people shut you out and want to be alone and solo. So it's like, and you can't control it. I guess it would be nice to be able to, control somebody mentally or whatever. I guess it would be nice in some settings, because it's like, hey, I love you, and I want to show you that I love you, and I'm going to be great for you. But it's self-sabotaging, and men do that. We do that a lot of the times too. Right. I've been figuring that out lately. It's like, I don't know if it's social media or what, but it seems like men always feel like there's something better. There's always something better.
Right.
And it's a combination of things. It's the conqueror's mentality with this whole red pill thing, where it's like, oh, I have to be the best, work out, do this, do that. Some men in that stage, and some men, it's another thing in social media where you get to see women all the time. And it's like, you're so exposed to so much. So I don't know. It's not good for relationships. What happened with you in your relationship?
It's a long story, but I guess I can speak on the ending. Yeah. I will say before that, the relationship while it was going was amazing, or so I thought. We prayed together every night. We were a long distance, so every night we'd pray together. We'd sleep on FaceTime, which is it was his idea, and we just kind of did it for the length of our relationship when we weren't together. And then we'd pray in the morning time. Fast forward a year into our relationship, we went to look for a place in Huntsville. I was going to move in. We were going to move in together. So we had found like a really nice townhome. I enrolled my daughter in a school down there. Thankfully, I didn't unenroll her from her school.
Yeah.
I like sold half of the things in my apartment and to downsize to get ready to move in with him. And, like that week before we moved in together, or we were supposed to be moving in together, he became like extremely mean. Wow. And was very much unlike him. And I just kept like letting it roll off, because I'm like, we have bigger fish to fry. Like, I'm not going to get into this right now with you. And anyway, long story short, he had paid for people to pack up my apartment. So my TVs were down. My daughter's bed was broken down. Literally everything off my walls, no rugs down, like everything, And he was supposed to be headed to my apartment in a U-Haul to come pick my stuff up. And on his way there, I had asked him, like, hey, how far are you? Because my brother was going to help him move my stuff. And his response was really, really, really mean, to the point where I had no choice but to block him. Like, because it hit me like, okay, something's weird here. And the next day, I found out that he hadn't even paid for the apartment, like the deposit and first month's rent. So he was never headed to me in a U-Haul because he would have had nowhere to put my stuff.
Yeah.
So in that, I realized that he was like a pathological liar.
Yeah.
And it made me question our whole entire relationship because something in me always felt like something was off, but I thought it was something with me.
Yeah.
So this last year, I'm like getting more intensive therapy. I had left the therapist I was with because I was like, I feel like, this guy is so great, but why can I not trust him in my heart? So I'm like, maybe it's daddy issues. Maybe it's I have anxiety. So I go and get this EMDR therapy, which is like barely even, it's not really working for me because I didn't have anything to talk about. You know, I kind of got over all of the things from childhood, but I'm like, there has to be something wrong with me because like, why in my heart don't I feel safe with this guy?
What is EMDR therapy?
It's eye movement something. I don't know, but they pretty much like do like this to you while you're talking, and it reprocesses it reprocesses your memories. So I was doing that, and there would be times I'd go to therapy and I literally be blank because I don't know what to talk about. I don't really have anything to reprocess, but in me, I'm just like, I'm trying to be the best woman I can, and I want to trust him. He's so perfect. Why can't I trust him? Because all I'm seeing is this like quote unquote perfect guy, you know, which that's what pathological liars are. Yeah. And but me, because I'm not a pathological liar, I wasn't thinking like that. And and I even at one point got anxiety medication, never been on medication. I'm like someone who doesn't even take medicine, but I was just wanting to be better, and I just thought something was wrong with me. But at the end, I found out he was a narcissist. Like when you go back and look at it, it's and I never, you hear that word thrown around a lot. But when you look at the process of it, they love bombing, and then it's the devaluing, and then the discard. So he love bombed me the whole relationship. And then a few weeks before, he started the devaluing, where I'm sitting here like, who is this person, but like trying to play it off. And then the discard, which was so major and blindsiding. Yeah. And so I haven't been on any anxiety and medication since. I haven't felt anxious at all, but I just felt like, I didn't feel right in my spirit because he was not good for me. Yeah. And I didn't want to trust myself. Instead, I just thought something was wrong with me when really it was like God trying to protect me. Yeah. And so like just realizing that all, at the end of the relationship was a lot. Yeah. But just thanking God and reading books. I read a book called The 30-Day Heartbreak Cure. Really helped me stay focused. I went no contact with him like immediately after, and I haven't spoke to him since. And I don't know if he's reached out to me because he can't. Yeah. And I have no inkling or anything to want to reach out to him. I mean, I kind of know what it is now. I kind of gave myself the closure that was needed.
How do you get to a place of strength like that? Because that takes a lot, especially when you've loved someone up until that point.
Yeah, I mean, just years before and going through heartbreak in my younger years. I remember my first breakup at like 16. I was down bad. Like I had to go get hospitalized for like 12 hours or something because I wanted to kill myself. And but I feel like that right there was that I needed that because now as an adult, I would never get down to that level. But then, relationships after that, I remember like feeling regretful after breaking up with someone, or like when me and my child's father broke up, and just like giving him chance after chance, and then finally breaking up with him. So it's just like, as you grow, you realize like if it's not meant to be, it's just not meant to be. And I will get over it eventually. I can either sit here and be stuck and wallow in this, or I can like make the choice to like, okay, it's over. What's next? Like get the emotions out, do what you got to do, but you're not going to be stuck here. Yeah.
Yeah. And that shows a level of strength too, because if you think about it, you had the tools to be able to say, well, let me go get this book. This should help me. Let me go do this. Let me completely disassociate myself from this. I see what this is. I can identify this. Nah, that's amazing. Because you got to think about the people who, or maybe the women in the past prior to you that may have dealt with this man who didn't have that or wouldn't be able to, have that strength. They just would have been lost,
Right. And I think that's what he expected from me, because I was madly in love with this guy, and I never wanted to give up on him or anything like that. And I know he had told me stories of his exes being crazy, and so when a man tells me that, it's like, okay, I'll never be crazy over you like that. Like I get, and I'm not. You ain't ever gonna have the chance to say that I was calling you or blowing you up. Like when I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah. No. That you, as you say this right now, you kind of gave me a little bit more insight into my mother's mind, oddly enough, because, I always wonder, like, because she never really found love in that way. What she did, but it was the man that she found love with, he ended up passing away. Somebody ended up murdering him. But she never really found love in that way after him. And it's like, why? I always ask why. It's just like when I see something, it's like, it's not worth it. I would refuse to live my life like that for you get so
Right.
Yeah, no, that gave me a lot of insight, because at first I'm like, nah, maybe my mother was a problem, but as I see you sit up and talk about that now, it's like, no, maybe it's strength, like it's the strength of a woman to be able to do that. That's amazing though, because that shit could have ended badly, especially with your daughter being involved.
Yes, and it was a lot of moving pieces, even to right now to this day. Like I still don't have any pictures hung up on my wall. I did finally, like, it took about a week after everything, because, like, I didn't eat, I didn't shower. Like, I was down bad for, like, a week. I gave myself that week because I was like, I need to get it all out. I need to purge this. But and my daughter's father, thank God, this all happened with her Christmas break or something like that. So, like, he had her for that entire week. And so after a week of it happening, my daughter came home, another week passed, and then her dad came and he put her bed back up. I put all of her pictures on her walls and fixed, made life normal for her, because her bedroom's upstairs. So like, I was like, let me get the upstairs back, And so I did that. But like to this day, I still don't have my pictures hung up on my walls. My TVs are still not hung up downstairs, but I am planning on moving. And I feel like it helped me make space so I can move.
Yeah. Does she ask about him, your daughter?
She did at the beginning, but now, no.
Yeah.
Hopefully she forgets him. But he was great. I mean, like when I say, like, I don't want to take that, but it's so hard to say he was great when you know that this person is a liar.
Yeah.
But and that sucks too, because he treated me amazing. When we're together, he opened all of my doors. He, of course, paid for everything, like, and was just like a gentleman. And so now, like, when other guys are trying to talk to me, like, if they don't open my door immediately, I'm just like, ugh, because I've been exposed to good, and so that part sucks, but it's all good.
Yeah, and you'll find better. I mean, you'll find what's meant for you anyway.
Exactly.
So I want to shift gears. You went to the White House. How was that experience? You went to the White House for Trump's Black History celebration. Is that what they call it? How was that experience?
It was amazing. It was very surreal. It felt great.
Like, I seen you posting pictures of it and everything like that. It just seemed. I mean, it seemed like a celebration. What was the atmosphere like? Was it loving? Was it welcoming?
Yeah, definitely welcoming. It was good being around, because a lot of us Black conservatives, we all know each other for the most part. And a lot of people that I'm friends with, they're extremely popular in the movement. I'm more so like, you got to be in the movement to know who I am type thing. But these people are like the face of Black conservatism in their own right. So it's cool just like being around people I started with and realizing like, oh, they're famous, like my best friend Dom, we kind of got our start in politics together. He came in a little bit after me, and just seeing him now, like, we will be out and people are like, oh my God, that's Dom. And I'm sitting here like, oh, like, that's what's up, because it's my brother. And you don't realize, like, because you just see them as like normal people, but like people love them, and like people want their opinion on things, or people are, this one guy even asked for his autograph before. And I'm like, dang, that's so crazy, So it's just cool being in that environment, and just, it's like, it feels like, okay, Jesus is in the room here. Like, all my friends are being blessed. Like that, it feels so good, because it just makes you feel like, okay, like life is limitless. There's so many possibilities to this, and just seeing how blessed my friends have been from this, and even me, it might not be on the level as them yet, but in my own right, it's a really great feeling. And then just being at the White House kind of just ties it all together and makes it feel like what we're doing is really worth it.
Yeah, and that was I was going to add on to that and say you're just a few steps away from that. You know, that's the reality. I see like the engagement, I see all of that. You're just a few steps away from that, and it seems like, you know, I don't know what the remedy may be to get you just to that, but it just seems like you're a few steps away from that. You know, I always told you that like you'll probably in that space be a celebrity one day. You know, so I can definitely see that for you. What moves have you been making lately? I know you said you ended up getting out of Blexit. What was the reason why you got out of Blexit? Or first, you could tell them what Blexit is for the people who never.
So Blexit in general is just like the Black exit from victimhood mentality, kind of breaking that narrative of what a Black person is supposed to be, breaking any chains that we have that hold us back to let us know that you can achieve whatever you want in America. The American dream is for Black people as well. So but why I left, to keep it short, because I love everybody in Blexit. But I feel like sometimes you just outgrow things.
Absolutely.
And it was just time for me to step aside and let like the newer generation come in. The organization was moving in a direction where I didn't see it, but there's other people who did see, you know, they had the vision for that. So it was better for me to step away and let them, you know, continue and to keep my good relationship with them. And so I still help out when I can, send them connections, or, you know, just keep in contact with the people in the movement. I'll forever love them because, you know, that's where I got my start. They took me to the White House for the first time back in 2020. So
is Candace Owens still over Blexit?
She's still over it, but she's extremely hands off. Because like when I started, Blexit was really small. And so like we all knew each other, and it was, you know, just a handful of us. And so Candace would be at our events, or she was in the know of knowing what's going on. But I think now, so because they are ran by Turning Point USA now, which is a much larger organization. I don't know what his role is now, but PR Wilson is more so the one who's over everything.
She a beast. I watch a lot of Candace. I watch a lot of stuff. Do me a favor, can you just pull the mic just down a little bit? I want to cover your face on the mic. I mean on the camera. I mean just you can just pull it down. Just great. And you can still point it up. So the experience at the White House, it was pretty surreal. I can imagine. Trump, did you get a chance to meet him?
No, it was way too many people. So like originally the event was supposed to happen the week prior, and there was a snowstorm in DC, so it was rescheduled to like a week after. And I think more people got invited after that, so it ended up being like a larger event. So I didn't get to meet him, but I have faith that one day I will.
Oh, DJT.
Yeah.
What is let me ask you this. This is something I want to ask you. The first time we got on the episode with Trump, the assassinations. What is your theory on that? Do you have any theory? Because I'm a conspiracy theorist. Do you have any theory on like the assassination thing?
I have theories, but I don't want to say it.
I got you. I got you. No, I definitely. When you see it, it's a weird situation, you know, especially with the and I'll say what I think. The first guy, the first guy, the weird looking guy who they said did like the Black Rock commercial and everything like that. That was kind of strange. It's like, all right, so what's going on with this? And once you see what Trump has done going into the White House alongside Elon with Doge and everything like that, it kind of makes sense why, I don't know, big corporations may want to go ahead and take him out, especially this is what he ran on in the beginning, or, you know, cleaning up the swamp or draining the swamp, you know, and you see now what he's doing with Doge, or what they're doing with Doge. It's kind of like, you know, I mean, he's making it hot for these big corporations and everything like that. Don't you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What do you know about Doge? Have you looked into Doge a lot?
I haven't looked into it as much. I try to stay informed, but I feel like there's so many different subsets of like what's going on, and like just his administration, that I try to just focus on what I'm working on. So I'm more interested in anything criminal justice or anything that's going to affect the lower income people. So I try to stay there. But I do, there have been things that I've heard about, like, you know, DEI or with Doge that may be affecting like the VA. I have my brother's boyfriend is a doctor at the VA in Baltimore, and he's been dealing with some problems. And so, I mean, I'm trying to stay informed as much as I can, but, you know, there's so much going on that can overwhelm you. So.
It's a lot. Listen, this USAID and Doge has been taking over my life, at least a point of my life. I've just been looking into a lot of this with the USAID because I think it was Rand Paul. I was watching him kind of listing off, which Doge hasn't put out anything yet officially to say like this is where the wasteful or corrupt spending has been.
Right.
So it's not anything official that I've seen, but I've seen like things like if this is true, it's gonna be crazy. Like it's like $200 million on trans experiments on animals for trans medication and stuff like that. If this is true, and they can show proof of this, like it'll be crazy. And I know I even went on a website because I know it's an open source type of thing where you can see a list of all of the expenses and stuff like that. But I couldn't access anything anymore. So I don't know. I seen a guy on Joe Rogan, they pulled it right up, but I'm like, maybe it's too many people now going on a website and it just crashed or something like that. Maybe they removed it. I don't know. It's just so much information, like you said. But in regards to what you're doing, like what have you seen positive as far as like what Trump has done as far as like criminal justice and things like that?
Well, he just appointed a new pardon czar, which is Alice Johnson. She's from Tennessee. She was given, I want to say, a life sentence, if I'm not mistaken, for something to do with drugs. And I don't even know her story, so I don't want to get into it. Yeah. But she's a Black woman from Tennessee. And I think that's amazing. Number one, I feel like she could be someone who I may have access to. I do have friends who are cool with her. Yeah. So I would love to speak to her one day about Phil's case, you know, maybe to get him a pardon. I don't really know much on the federal level that's going on. I do know that he is pro-death penalty, and I work for an anti-death penalty organization. So that's been kind of hard because I'm the only conservative at my organization as well. So I know people at my job are not happy with that. Yeah. And I think that some of them are a little like taken aback. Like, how can you vote for Trump if he's pro-death penalty and he wants to bring it back and we're working to end it? But it's like, you know, I voted for him more than just his death penalty. He didn't just run on like the death penalty. If that was like his main thing and the only thing he was focused on, I wouldn't have. You know, I mean, I probably still would have voted for him, but I don't know. Yeah. So that's been like a tough thing to walk. But I just have faith in, you know, have someone will give him a conversation about like, hey, look what the system did to you, and you have all this money. Imagine if you have no money, like, and you can't fight the system. Do you really think the government should be in charge of who lives and who dies? You know, but it's just about having those conversations. Yeah, yeah, and I think he seems to be pretty open about having conversations with people. Yeah, you know, it feels like. You know what I think a breath of fresh air has been like, just to be, I'm not, you know, against like gay people or anything like that, but it just seems like it was such a tense environment as far as like maybe saying the wrong thing. Like it's been to the point to where I work in a corporate job, or I have a corporate job. So I'm sending an email, and if it's somebody with like a name that could go either way, male or even somebody that's just, I know this is a woman, I'll wait for somebody to refer to them as she or something like that before I send she or he, because I'm so afraid of like getting that message back, like saying I am he. You know that. You know, it's so confusing. You know, and I'm glad that we're kind of like over that part of it. You know, because I'm not against anything like homosexual or whatever. You know, LGBTQIA plus. I'm not against that, but it's just like the whole pronoun thing and just it's foolishness. Yeah, whenever we have things at like my job, because again, I am the only conservative here, but in the movement as a whole, I think it's like 5 of us. So when we have like our large conferences, it's a bunch of liberal, and it's people who are very liberal when it comes to the criminal justice system. So it's people who don't believe in prisons or just really radical, what you would think are radical things to the average person, but they'll do a thing where they're like an icebreaker, and they'll be like, and part of it's like, okay, and tell your pronouns. I always skip over that because I'm like, I'm a woman, like, you know, like, and when people say they and stuff like that, I try to respect it if I remember. But if you look like a woman, I would probably call you her or she, and because I don't know, I'm just so used to working around conservatives that like we don't really do that. So you know, I try to respect other people, but you can't fault me if I call you a her and you're really like a zer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What is why do you think the support like for Trump as far as black and brown people, why do you think it shifted so much in this election?
Because, like you said, how radical it got to the point where people are afraid to say the wrong thing, and people just want to be normal again.
Yeah.
And people, you can't focus on sexuality whenever you can't even pay your bills, you know, and you're noticing things are getting expensive. Like, you're like, okay, like, y'all, like the Democrats where they lost everybody. It was all about identity. It was all about, you know, things that weren't going to help on our day to day, things that I guess people who had more money, who were more wealthy, were worried about, or things that they had time to think about. We're not thinking about that, you know. Like there was even the war with Palestine and Israel. People just were not on the same type of time. They had other things to worry about, and they wanted more solid answers from the left. And I feel like they got that from Trump. He didn't really leave any stone unturned when it came to what he wanted to do. He listed out his policy and, you know, every little thing he wanted to do, and he hit everything, even homelessness, you know, like he really, I feel like he seemed to care more about the everyday average person.
Yeah, he definitely won the culture war. It's too much identity politics with Democrats. It was too much identity politics. It's too much, you know, what do you identify as? What is this? What is that? Like, how does this make you feel? And the reality is that everyday working people, like you said, we just want to pay our bills. We want to make sure everybody's okay. And I think Trump spoke to that well in the election, and it showed. I mean, he, you know, it's landslide. So yeah. No, I've noticed, because I would like to think that I fall in the middle. I don't really identify either way. I'm willing to listen to anybody, and plus I'm a soldier first. You know, I was in the military, so it's like I'm a soldier first. So it's like, that's our president. I'm not, you know, at the end of the day, it's like we follow suit. I am an American. I don't buy into this like, oh, take me back to Africa thing.
Yeah, me
like,
either. I'm a Black American.
I'm a Black American, and that's what I want to be. That's what I like. That's why we have to learn to love America. I do love America, and like I said, I'm a soldier. That's why I was willing to fight for the country. I never went to fight, but I was willing to. So it's like I kind of fall like, that's our leader now. So it's no use in me, you know, whatever. Like I'm you know, with the leader. So I fall in the middle, but I do see. You know why I like him? I like him because, honestly, I seen a clip, okay? This is kind of like the epitome of why I like Trump. It's like I seen a clip, and it's he was talking to like a guy from India, and it was like at a podium, both of them. And there was this conversation. The guy, he just didn't make sense. You know, it was hard to, a real thick Indian accent. You couldn't understand what he was saying. And Trump said, I'll be honest, I don't know what you're saying. You know, it was just that. It's like, that's why I like him. At surface level, somebody looking at this like, oh, that's why you like a person because it's like, no. Like, you got to dig deeper. It's not, at least he showed, like, it's clear. It's not, oh, could you repeat? Or, oh, I'll pretend I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, I don't understand what he's saying. Somebody, like, provides some clarity. It's just a reality thing. And I'm like, I can at least appreciate that from somebody. Whether he shows me something that I may disagree with or says something that I disagree with or not. Even times with it was an instance where it was something that just happened. Which one? The most recent tragedy we just had? The wildfires. And when Trump was speaking about it, and it was not enough compassion for my liking, right? And it's like, I was like, wow, he could have said that better, you know, from the clip that I hear or from the speech that he was saying. I'm like, he could have said something better and been more of like supportive. But then I say, you got to think, you don't have his job. You don't see the shit that he has to see every day. You don't like know the amount of pressure this man may be under. This is a fire here and we got to figure this out. But all right, cool. Why are you expecting what you would say from him, or why are you expecting so much? So I'm able to take myself outside of that, but I'm realizing that a lot of our people, black people, brown people, it's like we get so tribal about it and we're just not willing to, it's like, fuck him, fuck that, fuck this. It's like, yeah, I think that's no good. And I think that's something that the Democrats kind of ushered in, that type of mentality.
Yes. And so, like, you know, speaking to that, one thing I always say when people ask me, like, why do you support Trump? He's like a rich billionaire. He doesn't care about you. But the thing that I don't think the average person knows about Trump is that he really believes in the American dream. He doesn't look at your accolades or where you went to college. You know, he's looking at like, where'd you come from and where you are now?
Yeah.
And so like, if I was a Democrat, I would not be at the White House. I would not have experienced what I've experienced now because I didn't go to a 4-year university.
Yeah.
I don't have a degree. I don't come from a rich family. I don't have a really wealthy last name or anything like that. No connections in politics. But Trump opens doors for people like me. Like if you want to do better, if you're doing better for yourself, okay, like there's a place for you. My friend Michaela, for example, she was the girl who Trump met at Chick-fil-A, and she works for his administration.
Yeah.
And she never went to a university, you know, or she went to a university, but she didn't graduate. And but she's like a normal person, but she has so much fire, passion inside of her, and she got an opportunity. You know, these opportunities are not. Sorry.
No, it's me.
Okay. Yeah. Those opportunities are not afforded on the other side. And I've had friends in DC who've told me, they're like, you know, one thing I can say about you Black Republicans is when y'all get in, y'all can move up fast. Yeah. And, you know, he was like, you know, I've been in Democrat politics, I think like 8-9 years at the time. And he was like, I've had the same position forever. It's like they don't trust us to move up. They look at us like we are, like, oh, you're Black, like you need help, or you're not ready, or you know, they don't look at us like that on the other side. You know, of course there's racism everywhere, right? Or there's people, like you know, clearly we know that as Black people, but I feel like there's more pressure on the Republican side to treat everybody as normal as possible. Yeah. So it's not looking at your skin color. It's like, okay, what can you do? How can you advance what we're doing? You know, like if you're good at that, then you're good here. You know. It's not, you don't have to have all these letters behind your name. You know, it's just like, okay, like if even like, I don't know, like Trump would be the type to put somebody who's been homeless before on like, their homeless task force, you know, because he wants to know like someone who's been there, who like got themselves out of it, instead of just putting a bunch of people who graduated from Harvard on something like that, you know, like, and I love that about him.
No, he definitely he'll go down in history. He changed politics forever, and with what he's doing now, because I really listen to a lot of like economy when he's doing things with the economy, and like I talked about Doge and USAID and stuff like that. If he does what he set out to do, I mean, this will change everything forever. You know, I think so, because I mean, we've been told the whole campaign of Democrats, the whole campaign was. He's evil, he's bad, fascist. You know, we got this whole narrative pumped to us, but if he can change things for the better, I think that, you know, that'll eliminate that narrative, and they may not ever get a chance. It may take them 10 years to recover from this, you know.
Right.
Oh, that's amazing, though. I definitely can see him, you know, at least something that he said that I like with the war in Ukraine. Ukraine and Russian war. He said, I just want people to stop dying. Mm-hmm. You know, but then you see on the other side of the aisle where I want to say it was Nancy Pelosi, but I don't want to put that on her. If it wasn't her, you may know. But it was a rocket headed over. This was about Israel. It was a rocket headed to from Israel to Gaza and or Palestine, and she signed it. Said something.
Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley. That's who it was. Not Nancy Pelosi. Nikki Haley. It's like, you know, like imagine if I had a friend. It's me, you, and a friend, and this friend was going to. You wanted to kill this friend, and I didn't like this friend either. You know, I'm like, let him die. And before you killed him, I got the bullet and, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and gave you the bullet. This shit. Wouldn't that be kind of like, oh, this man's crazy? Like, it's like,
and she was running for president at the time, or to be a presidential nominee.
So it's like, we normalize that. Like, is that normal? That's not normal. Like, somebody who's experienced death and who knows what death is and people dying, like, life is such a sacred thing for you to just like, so you know that this rocket or missile is going over to go kill somebody, like,
right,
and like destroy. You sign it as if, you know, what's the thought process, I wonder. So it's like things like that we'll ignore as Black people because we so in love with the Democratic Party. We we ignore stuff like that, but then we highlight, any other thing. So I don't know.
Right.
What do you think the answer is for us as Black people? And specifically speaking for Black people, what is the answer for us to get it like together? I guess in this space.
I mean, just going back to what our grandparents taught us,
Yeah.
like we got so far away from our roots and like what made us, strong back in the day.
Yeah.
And now we're letting these white people, just because they have letters behind their name or they have a powerful position somewhere, they're teaching us how to be.
Yeah.
And it's everything opposite of what we were taught growing up or, what our grandparents were taught growing up. And it's like, even like, I always bring my dad up, for example. My dad is the most conservative man that I know. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't like Trump. He doesn't like the Republicans. He doesn't get it, though. But I think it's because socially, because he's also very pro-Black. So socially, from the outside, it looks like the other party is more pro-Black.
Yeah.
So he goes over there. But I'm like, Dad, the things that they are championing are like things that you're against. Like you're not for any of this, but you don't want to seem like you're against Black people publicly. So you're with that side, but it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like we have to get, like you said, our emotions out of it. And when you say that like makes people upset, but it's so true. We get so caught up in the emotions or just how it looks. We let the media paint pictures for us, or we let these rich people with special interests paint pictures for us, and it goes against all of our values.
Yeah, our actual values. Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. I had a conversation with this girl I know. She, it got heated. It was I was talking about, yeah, baby, you okay, son? You okay? What do you need? Okay, give me a second. I'll be down in like 10 minutes, okay? All right. But yeah, no, I was talking to this girl, and it was like we was having a conversation, and it was like I was talking about what Elon was doing with Doge or whatever, and I'm like, but I'm like, you have to understand what he's doing. There's no, you have to pull all of this out, like with. If it's this much corruption, this much misuse of funds, you have to go ahead and just pull all of this out. You have to figure it out, and it'll get ugly. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off. You have to do that in that way, because if you try to go through proper systems and things like that, now there's a level to where you can't go. When it becomes unconstitutional, then that's different. But because we have to follow that, but when you do it to the point to where it's like still within the law and you figure it out, I was like, you have to understand that that's what you have to do. I was like, just look into it, what he's trying to do, And no, I don't want to. I don't want to look into it. I don't care about Elon or what he does. I'm like, but why though?
Right.
Like, why? Why don't you care about what's going on over here? This is our president. We have to deal with this for the next 4 years. Are you just going to live life and until, we get another Democratic president because somebody told you to? But it's all social. It's all social media.
Yeah.
People read headlines. It's also
It's sad though when you think about it, because it's like there's no awareness from people, and me personally, I want to know what's going on either side, whoever, I want to know so I'm not ignorant when speaking. Like I'm not around ignorant people, but I feel like people who are around ignorant people, they can say things like, oh, I don't want to know. Like that would never fly in my groups that I'm around, like, no, we want to know. And I want to be right in what I'm saying, because even if say one of my conservative friends says that Joe Biden's doing something and it sounds like really bad, but what if I go look into it? I'm like, hey, actually, it's not that way. And I can, that's how education starts and helping. But if I just sit there and take their word for it, then I'm going to think and I'm going to have an ignorant opinion. And that's how it happens on the left quite often.
Yeah. So it's such a tribal mentality. And it happens like that. No, you're absolutely right. Because, she's been told by the media that these people are racist and stuff like that. That's all what it boils down to. And I don't want to listen to a racist. Well, I've always been the type to, even if they are racist, I'm still willing to listen. I do have a point where if it's too much, it's like, all right, it's ignorance. If it goes to ignorance, I don't want to listen, but it's like, all right, at least I'll give him, if it's a racist man, I watch documentaries about Klan members and stuff like that, just to see what's the mentality, to at least know. I at least want to know why,
Exactly.
So. Yeah, I think we just get lost in that, man. I don't know. I don't know what I mean, I guess it's a breath of fresh air to see people like yourself or people like, other people who are out here who may not have like committed to a party or to a side, but even you committed to a side, but also you actively deal with the other side as well. And you're willing to hear either way. I'll tell people, my brothers, we all had a conversation about during the election when it was going on. I said, one thing that I did hear that Kamala said that I liked was changing Medicare over to where it could, not changing Medicare over, but making Medicare to where it would provide care for people with the elderly people, where they will be able to have like care in the home, like somebody come in and Medicare will pay for it. That's something that I've dealt with actively. I had to get Medicaid for my mother because Medicare wouldn't pay for somebody coming in the home, and the services with Medicaid are so bad. Having these like, bullshit caregivers coming in here, I'm like, what's the use in even getting this?
Right.
But maybe if we had Medicaid and Medicare that was able to do both of those things, maybe I can get like high quality like caregivers to come in the home or whatever to help assist me in taking care of her. Right. So that did speak to me, and it's like, all right, I think that's a good thing. I think that's cool because that's one of my issues. But then you get to hearing the other stuff where it's like, you don't want to admit the mistakes Joe Biden made. You don't want to admit that this man is like, basically going through dementia when he speaks. You don't want to admit that. You don't want to admit these things. And it's like, how can I trust you? And they completely turn me off with her,
It's like the cheese with the pill.
Yeah.
Because she said some things about criminal justice that really spoke to me that I thought were smart. And, but that's the cheese, with the pill. But I do that. Like, my wish is that we have more bipartisan work.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think Democrats are all dumb. Not by far. But I think we need to find a happy median that could help everybody. And I think part of that would be Republicans listening to Democrats on certain things like criminal justice reform. They might not have to go all the way left with it, but they do have some great ideas that need to be listened to, or even that idea. I'm not sure because I don't, that's not something that, has piqued my interest yet. Mm-hmm. So I haven't heard or know if Trump has something like that in the pipeline or in his policy. Yeah. But if not, that would be something great, for Republicans to look at and maybe take from the Democrats so they can implement that for people. So I'm big on bipartisanship and working together and letting where other parties are strong to let them be the lead in that.
Yeah.
And
yeah. That's what makes our country great, though. Different opinions, different people, things like that. What's your opinion? What about, are you really looking into the border and the situation with the border?
Yeah, I mean, I was, not necessarily now because Trump's in office, so it's easier to relax. Yeah. But I remember I went to New York. This was probably 2 years ago now. And it was right at the start of like when people started noticing it. And I was in Queensbridge, which is a very popular housing project down there. And right across the street from Queensbridge is a homeless shelter. Yeah. And I met some women who worked there at the bodega, and they were like telling me all about it. And they're like, they kicked out all the Black people and the white people who were living here, and they brought the migrants in. Yeah. And they're like, we can't even speak at work, or like we can't laugh at work because if we laugh, the migrants think we're talking about them. And so like you can get fired from your job or whatever. And then I talked to the people in the neighborhood, and they're like, we can't just hang outside like we used to let our kids play because we don't know these people. Because during the day, they're all outside of the homeless shelter, just like hanging out. They don't have jobs, so they're just drinking, doing whatever. And so like if their stuff can come up missing and they wouldn't know who it is. And she was like, back in the day, like before the migrants came, it's like, okay, we know that one crackhead who steals, or this one person you can't trust around kids, so we are aware. But like when you have this influx of people who don't even speak English and they're out here, one, they don't respect the neighborhood, so they're trashing it, and then two, it's like we just can't we're not safe for our children to be out and play. And these are Black people telling me this. Yeah. Usually Black people don't care about immigration, but once it hits home to us, we see now. And we see like, like the homeless people who used to live here aren't here anymore. They're out on the street on cots and stuff. Yeah. And the migrants are in there like living lovely. So like that really opened my eyes to seeing like, okay, we need to stop this because it's happening in Black cities.
No, 100%. I was, again, I was talking with someone. I try not to say names because I don't want people to, but I was speaking with someone, and it was about, I don't know if you heard that there's a big a lot of, because when we think immigration, we think of like Mexicans and stuff, right? But there's a lot of like Chinese people coming across the border in the South too. And I was looking at, I think it was 60 Minutes. I was looking at looking at a show where it was like, over 30,000 people was coming across the day. I may have those numbers wrong. Forgive me if I do, but it's like a big influx of Chinese people that come across the border, and a lot of those people are like men of military age, which is like, as a military man, about strategy and stuff like that. That bothers me. You know what I mean? It's like, why? You know what I mean? Like, what is that about? What's going on with that? And that does make me happy that we secured our border. Like, it's like, that's something. Because if you look at, like I said, from a strategic standpoint of how America is built, on the east we have an ocean, on the west we have an ocean, then we have Canada up top, which is an ally, which is basically America in a lot of ways, but a big ally, and it's frozen cold up there, so it's kind of no military will just go through there and can infiltrate in that way. The weakest point that we have is Mexico, the Mexican border or whatever, and coming if you have, let's say hypothetically, and this is all conspiracy theory type of thing. If you have Chinese men coming through of military age coming through the border, the southern border, and they set up certain cells across the state, like if our power grid goes out, or it's very easy. We seen that with Texas when that situation happened with this, I think it was snow that happened in Texas where our power grids went out. If that happens, in certain places, that can make it easier for people to infiltrate or things to happen. And we don't think about that because we're so safe in America, because this is a great place to live. Right. We don't think about it, but that is a reality though, and a lot of people don't think that. You don't think people over across seas hate us. They really do. They hate us. A lot of people do. And, some of them want to come in and take over and do certain things. And that's the best way. So it's like a secure border is like, was number one for me. And I like that. So,
because you can't, like I try to tell people, you can't go to any other country and just be there willy nilly. I can't just walk into Russia. I can't just walk into Africa and think stuff is sweet. No, not at all. Sure. And then they also the media paints it to make it seem like families are coming here and they're trying to escape. And it's like, no, a lot of times these are men that are coming over here, and they're not just like back in the day when we had a big influx of Hispanics, mostly Mexicans and Guatemalans. Those people came here, they lived to like 10 in a house, but now those same people have like their own construction companies. They're doing good. It's a lot different, but like these new illegal immigrants are coming here and like getting all of the government money that they can because we have all these programs, thanks to like Joe Biden and Kamala, all these programs for illegal immigrants now. Yeah. And they're able to come here and just live free off of our government.
Yeah. Now, a lot of problems, but listen, it's good that we have people with different opinions. I think that's healthy for the country. I pray it stays that way. The moment we get to a place to where everybody agrees with everything, I think we may be in trouble.
For sure.
I think so. So it's always good to have that pushback. I think the Trump coming in now is a big correction. That's a correction for, what we've had to endure for these past few years. And I'm excited to see what happens. I pray that he does well. It's weird that you see a lot of people seems like they don't want him to do well, which is ridiculous because we all live here. So, but yeah, listen, it's always good sitting down talking to you. Always good sitting having a conversation with you about these things. Listen, I pray that you keep on doing the things that you do, because I think the work that you do is good, and keep figuring it out. You'll be one of those people one day for sure. Like one of those famous conservative people. I can see that, I know one of your biggest things in the beginning was like your ability to sit down and have a conversation. I used to think like, oh, you're great with, a good conversationalist. It seems like that's something you've been working on as well too.
It's confidence. That's been my thing throughout this thing. And, the imposter syndrome of feeling like looking at all the things I don't or have or compared to other people. But now that I've been in these rooms around these people, I'm realizing a lot of these people, they're just like me, but they have more confidence in themselves or they've been exposed more, to these things. So now it's like, they're good. Yeah. So, just gaining more confidence each day.
Yeah, that's the game changer, the confidence. That's really the only difference, like you just said. That's the only difference is confidence. Because you can get as much education as you want. You can get as much whatever as you want. It's confidence. If you can display confidence, you'll be good. That's something that I try to teach my son as well. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for coming on again. I'm pretty sure I'll have you back at some point. I'm excited to see your journey up and for the next few years and see what you do. I want you to keep going. I hope you do. it's good that you didn't let, the relationship and all that other stuff stop you from doing positive things. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
Thank you. And shout out to you for graduating and
Definitely.
doing great.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep on pushing myself as well. But listen, this is the ChoppedByT podcast where we get real, raw, authentic conversations. Until next time.